DTF1 is your favorite, totally unofficial, and completely unprofessional F1 podcast, where we're always down to Formula One.
Welcome to the DTF1 podcast.
Just keep going.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone, welcome to the DTF1 podcast, where we are always down to Formula One. I'm your host, Andre. This is my co-host, Trent. Hi, Trent.
Hello, everyone. To be honest, I'm really excited about this episode until you had to do 3 takes of the start. I might even...
No, don't leave.
I might leave them in.
Leave one in, not 3.
Why not?
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm excited about this too, though. That was quite the Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix.
It was. And we're following that up with our another driver's favourite, the Austrian GP after that. But let's get stuck into Silverstone.
Straight in.
The British Grand Prix.
Race of the year so far, you reckon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, by some margin.
Absolutely.
Oh, mind you, the first 2 were pretty good. Those battles for the lead in Bahrain and Saudi were pretty good. But yeah, clear still best race of the season, I reckon.
Yeah, it was just something happened all the time. And let's not forget. Let's wind back the clock a bit back to qualifying.
Yeah, let's wind back the clock. Sounds good.
Let's wind. Yeah, I told you it was going to be a good episode.
To qualifying.
Qualifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, qualifying.
Wet qualifying. It was all Max as far as I was concerned, and then boom, Charlie and the Ferrari factory had a spin, and lo and behold, little Maxi boy comes through, yellow flags, has to bail on his lap, opens the door for Carlos, just doing a solid job as he always does.
Very true. To be fair, there's a red hot chance Max was going to duff that lap anyway, because he duffed 2 previous ones. He spun. He did that full 360 out of. We just had this conversation last time. What's that corner called where Shuey broke his legs? Stowe. Yeah. He did that full 360 out of Stowe, stuffed that lap. Then the following lap, he ran wide on the last corner. So, yeah, look, the yellow flag probably cost him the pole, but he might have taken care of it himself too, based on his previous form on the previous 2 laps. But, yeah, he had pace-wise, he had it in the bag, no doubt. He was on another level.
What's the old saying? You've got to be in it to win it. Neither him nor Charles were in it, were they?
And I think a lot of people screwed up their last run, right? Like everyone was banking on the track being fast at the very, very end. Lewis was told to do a cool down lap, a recharge lap. So was George. So was Fernando, I think. And they were all going for their fast lap on the last lap, and then it started to rain again. So game over.
Yeah, Fernando came through with it looked like the perfect timing. He started his lap before, and the commentators are like, "No, he's done that. This is his final lap." He gets across the line with something like 3 seconds to go, and we're like, "Well, he's on here. He is the last guy. It's going to be as dry as you get." Later on, we found out he didn't have charged batteries, so he couldn't do a full lap. He honestly thought he was top 4 pace again, like Montreal.
I know we're probably going to talk about it later. I agree. Maybe even faster. Maybe even on the pole, to be honest. We'll talk about it later, but, one thing that's given me a lot of more understanding and appreciation of how the ERS system works and how they have to manage the charge of the battery is playing F1 22, which we got last week and we played a little bit of on the weekend. It's really fun, and it gives you a good little insight into... Like, it's not really an insight into DRS. It's the open it when you can open it, and it shuts when you jump on the stop pedal. It's not that difficult. But managing the RS is actually, it's quite a bit to it. When do you do a charge lap? When do you do a like empty the battery lap? And that's for qualifying, and through the race, just managing where you use it and how you use it, and trying to do it at different points to your competitors. It's quite fun. It's a nice extra strategic element. I like it.
If you're like me, you just don't use it at all because most of the time you're in the fence.
You got your hands full just with the loud pedal and the slow pedal.
Goodness me, I'm terrible at that game. Anyway,
yeah, all right, that's a tangent, but it's quite fun. And previous year would have been like you had an empty battery, like, oh yeah, whatever. kind of pass that off like that's unfortunate. But playing a little bit now, you're like, oh yeah, I see how that would have happened. Because on a hot lap, you do fully drain that sucker. Like you use everything it's got. You can empty the whole battery in one lap. Yeah. What do you look?
What's the horsepower that's comes from it? Oh, there you go.
100, right?
120 kilowatts.
120 kilowatts. That's like
160. Yeah,
200 horsepower.
160 horsepower.
Oh,
yep,
that's a lot.
MGUK. Yeah,
well, you can feel it in the game. Like you know the difference when it's on versus not. Like you definitely know the difference. So
it's clicking gears quicker. That's how you tell.
Yeah. So if you're going to start a lap with an empty battery, like forget it. It's like having a drive around in no higher than 6th gear, 7th gear.
Less so in the wet, obviously.
Probably, yeah.
That's why the guys are able to go quicker and quicker and lap by lap by lap by lap. Whereas the dry, when it's down to that last,
forget it.
10th, half a 10th.
You don't have a fully charged battery for a quali lap. Like, forget it.
Correct.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, that was quali. I thought that was pretty noteworthy. George probably a bit disappointed where he ended up. Probably Lewis as well. The guys that didn't get their last lap in because they timed it wrong, I think, would be disappointed. But a good, solid, maybe slightly lucky pole for Carlos. Is that unfair to say?
So who was Damon? Was it Damon Hill? That was on the F1 Nation podcast. He got up was it Tom Clarkson? He got up him about saying that Carlos was lucky, and he's like, you generate your own luck in Formula One. He's had a lot of bad luck, and anyway, he was probably lucky the other two fell off, but they fell off, so it's their own fault effectively. So
is he talking in the race or qualifying?
Or both.
I mean, I probably agree. I'd say there was a bit of define luck. He wasn't out and out fastest bloke all weekend. Like when you look back at the results in a year's time or 5 years' time, and you go pole win, you'd probably look at that and go, "Oof, geez, he was dominant that weekend." But that was not the case at all. That was and not to offend Damon, but a slightly lucky pole, you could say, with the rain coming at the end, and a slightly lucky win with the damage to, strategy-wise at the end. Charles didn't take fresh tyres and Max having damage. You could say it's lucky, I guess. Like, not to take anything away from him, but he wouldn't sit there and claim I was dominant all weekend. He wouldn't sit there in a debrief and say that either. Nor should we.
No, I think he's just happy to accept the fact that he's won a race.
Sometimes so.
And you know what's funny? Yeah. So was it the other week at Montreal, Max was starting his 150th race.
Yes.
And Carlos started his 150th race, and and he's got his first pole position, won his first race on his 150th race. Max has already won a world championship by this point. Already got 27 wins to his belt, and crashed a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, but yeah, all right, let's go back to the start of the race. So that's quite the talking point this weekend, obviously. That's as a hefty shunt at the start there that then triggered a chain reaction with other people jumping on the brakes and other people having their own accidents. But there's a few things to talk about, I think, and that's, first of all, the size of Zhou's shunt and the fact that the roll hoop was completely missing. And if it weren't for the halo, my lord. So there's a few things to talk about there. And then the chain reaction shunts that then took out other cars like Ocon and Gasly. I have no idea how they drove it back to the pits and repaired that thing. Because when you watch the replays, the size of the hit they got, like they proper copped a heavy hit, and they got it back, and not only got it back, but rebuilt the friggin' car during the red flag. It's some impressive stuff to talk about. But Zhou first, lucky boy.
Oh, I feel everyone's talking about the halo saved his life, and that is 100% true. My concern was, where's the roll hoop?
I couldn't believe it when I
that grinds down. Just I don't care if you've got the halo here. that grinds down. The back of the engine cover it grinds down another 10 more mil. What's next? Is his head, regardless of the halo.
Well,
so
I don't know if we're speaking out of school here. Like maybe we need to check how the new current cars are built. To me, because obviously the roll hoops used to go all the way into the airbox, right? Like up towards where the T cam is, towards the roll hoop cam
and
is,
that was
right?
the top.
I wonder if they don't.
The most northern point of the chassis is what it was. Yeah.
I wonder if that's not how the roll structure is built anymore. I wonder if it sits lower because of the halo. Because if the roll hoop goes all the way into the airbox, like what I'm accustomed to thinking it is, that shouldn't break off, and I have no idea where it's gone. I have no comprehension.
They're made from a different material.
The roll hoops.
I think they're a titanium material, and I think the halo is actually the part that's part of the back arms of the halo are into the chassis.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe
that's where strength comes from.
Maybe the roll hoop isn't what we think it is anymore, and all that airbox is fine to break off, but for my eyes and for what I'm used to and from where I know a roll hoop should sit, it looked bad. It looked really bad.
Yeah, it's like the halo is now the new roll hoop, and to be honest, it looks bad, but it saved. The whole thing saved his life. And did you see? We reshared ESPN F1's photo.
Yeah.
Of the divot in the concrete, the tarmac was like an inch from where the roll hoop was digging in. Unbelievable.
It's insane. And there's that photo. There's that photo again. That it might have been part of the same photo actually. There's also the photo of him skidding along upside down on the halo with sparks showering off it, and like his head is so close to the ground, so close. Alfa Romeo. I've just googled it. Alfa Romeo roll hoop likely focus of Zhou F1 crash investigation. So it's not good.
So it's not good. Yeah, right. So we were right.
It pulls over the major accident. FIA pulls over the major accident. Areas where perhaps improvement can be made. One of the aspects of the Zhou incident that will likely be looked at especially closely is what happened to the C24's roll hoop, with images of the car in the aftermath showing it had been ripped clean off. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we are right. It was bad.
Well, we're always right.
Oh, yeah, aren't we? Tell me about it.
Yeah. So another thing they're not speaking of is the strength of the crash fence. You've got an 800 kilo piece of machinery
coming at you,
flipped into that at whatever speed.
That car was still doing 150 kilometers an hour, easy, maybe more. By the time it hit the gravel, went airborne. Yeah, I don't know how that little chain wire fence stopped it.
It's funny because when you see him going through the corner, they don't look like they're going that fast. But as soon as he flipped and landed on his roof, it's like, oh my God, look how quick he's gone off into the sand.
Once you're skidding on roll hoop, there's nothing to decelerate you. Like when you're on all four tires, or even if you had a corner ripped off, once you're on three tires, still a lot of grip slowing you down. But once you're upside down, you're not decelerating at all, like zero, other than the little bit of friction. So. Yeah, it gives you a good reminder of how fucking crazy fast these things are once one goes upside down, and you can't brake when you're upside down.
I don't know about you, but I'm a bit claustrophobic, yeah? Mm-hmm. You've seen the photo of him after the fact where the car's laying in between the fence, the two fences, he can't get out. I would be panicking in that situation.
Well,
I'd be like, I would be doing everything possible to get out of there, and I know that I'm stuck. I can't get out, and I'd be panicking bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be content to just sit there and wait, unless, and here's the big unless.
There's a fire.
Yeah. You know what is terrifying? Combining this accident and Grosjean
be getting crashing and getting pinned in the car or something and waiting for someone to come and extract me. That would be the worst feeling in the world. So, look, I just hope that he can bounce back, and hopefully that wasn't much for him because he's been doing a great job. He qualified well again, and he was
qualified Bottas
probably off to a decent. Yeah, he was probably off to a decent start. I just hope that it hasn't rattled him too much.
Well, 2, 3, 4 rounds ago, I was saying, "Oh, geez, not looking good." Like Bottas is absolutely pantsing him, and since then, he's not been out. He's outqualified Bottas every time. He's outqualified Bottas every time, made me look like a fucking ass, hasn't he? So yeah.
Yeah, and the other person that we said is on the in under pressure segment was Mick Schumacher, and he's stepped it up. He's got into the points. He was battling Max, and
let's try and go through. Let's save talking about that battle because I got some things that I got some concerns with that. Let's talk about it at the end since it happened at the end of the race. So we'll try and go through chronologically ish, I reckon. But so the next thing then, moving on from Zhou, is all the other cascade of shunts that happened as a result. Obviously, people saw a car upside down. They do the natural thing, jump on the brakes. That locks brakes, creates smoke. More people jump on the brakes, etc., etc. Yeah, go ahead.
Bottas, I was watching a video today. F1 TV posted it, and Bottas, he slowed up too much, being a bit too cautious on the inside, and that's where Albon hit the brakes really hard. And then Vettel had nowhere to go and went to the back of him, and it's just a chain reaction. I'd do the same. I don't want to hit anything.
Yeah, no, I just let you do. I think everyone else criticise him for slowing down too much because what he would have been thinking is, I'm going to let this accident happen, and because everything's going to go to the outside of the corner largely. I'll just let the accident happen and get out of my way. But then, yeah, you're right. The trigger, the flow-on effect of that is people behind him have to jump on the brakes, etc., etc. But yeah, so you're right. Albon jumped on the brakes. Seb saw that late, jumped on the brakes, hit Albon head first into the pit wall, basically, just turned hard right, straight into a concrete wall. And he went to hospital. So Zhou only went to the
concussion,
to the medical center. Was it concussion? To ring his bell.
Yeah. So he cleared that though, so he's safe to race this week. Because in other sports, if you get concussion, you're out for 7 days minimum or whatever it is. So he's safe, apparently.
Okay.
They both are. Testament to the sport, honestly.
This is impressive. And then, though, Ocon copped such a big whack into the front right, and Gasly copped a friggin' car to the wishbone somewhere as well. They both drove back with, a corner hanging off-ish, fixed it under the red flag, and do the race. Like, that how strong are these things? Like, Ocon's broke a track rod, I think. I don't know what Gasly's broke, but they copped a race car into a front corner at quite the pace, and all it fucking breaks is a track rod and a front wing, and like, how is that possible? These things must be so fucking strong.
Yeah, well, it's like whenever there's side force or side impact, it's always okay. So I think a lot of these guys, some of the damage happened when there was obviously hit the corner of his front wheel and knocked the track rod, whereas I think Gasly might have copped it directly in the side. And probably the side pods come so far out nowadays that probably took a lot of the load as well.
Protected a bit, yeah.
And the floors, because the floors are so wide and so strong.
Yes.
I think that probably saves a lot of it, a lot of the impact as well.
But yeah, you're right. Like, imagine that same shunt like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, if you'd have copped a knock to the corner, half that hard, you'd have bloody the corner hanging off, or half the car hanging off. It's insane.
Well, I was winding back to the '94 San Marino Grand Prix, the first start, not Senna's crash, but the very start, where the car went into the back of another one, the wheel went onto the roof of the grandstand.
Yeah,
like 150 meters in the air.
Or even the end of that season, Hill and Schumacher come together, and like didn't touch each other that hard, and bloody broke Hill's wishbone. Push rod, I think.
Yeah, they're super strong.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's funny because they're super strong, but they're also designed to crumble. Look at when Schumacher hit the wall at Monaco, and when he hit the wall at Saudi, how the thing just fell apart. But they're obviously strong enough to not fall apart when they're hit, but strong enough to crumble when they need it. So it's an always evolving process, isn't it? And they've gone a long way, and I think they'll learn from the accident on the weekend, and let's move on a bit.
So from there, I think the race evolved in a cool way with like the quite a battle between the Ferraris and Max. Then Max, some team orders coming into play. Then Max got some damage to his floor, kind of fell out of the picture. But the race had a bit of everything, right? Like Ferrari inter-team orders and rivalry and fuck you, no, I'm not going to do that. And then just good wheel-to-wheel racing, and like it just had everything.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be the same question everybody's going to ask? Do you think Charles could have won that race?
In multiple ways, for sure. If Ferrari hadn't, again, you got to give credit where credit's due. Carlos won the race, but if Ferrari had made a more firm call early in the race to be like, let him pass, get out of his way, as in Carlos, get out of Charles' way. You don't know how far up the road he could have been. I definitely think he had more pace at that time of the race, so that would have totally changed the race. So yeah, I think if there was a more clear Charles focus in that team, he would have won that race, or almost without doubt. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I recall him coming over the radio saying, "Let me go, I'm faster," blah blah blah, and then they saying that Carlos's target time is this, and he wasn't doing the target. It was 42.9 or whatever it was. He wasn't doing. Then he did the target time. Then he pitted. So then it left Charles by himself. He went no quicker. So at that point in time, I was like, he was obviously, and even Martin Brundle said, he
was getting towed along.
Benefited from getting towed along a bit. He was in DRS. It was helping him. So, but then it obviously the race swings in different ways, and then after that, he was definitely quicker because he was driving away.
Yeah, and there's no way he's losing that race if he has fresh softs on at the end, like everyone else had on. So that they duffed that decision a little bit as well. And to be honest, I don't know when the safety car call came compared to how close Charles was to pit lane or not. So when I say they duffed the call, that might be a bit wrong. They might have literally not had time to make that call, but
6 seconds.
Yeah, it's fucking tough. That's tough.
Tough.
But
hindsight's amazing.
Hindsight is amazing. So, what am I trying to say here? Reasons aside, didn't have enough time to make the right call. Didn't make the right call. Whatever it is, the fact of the matter is, if you put him on fresh softs at the end, he's winning that race, right?
He hasn't had a lot of luck.
No.
Poor fella.
No.
Yeah, the championship's getting him and Max are clearly the standouts this year. It's just not working out for him. But anyway, at what point does Christian Horner grow a pair and stop and tell Max to stop complaining on the radio?
It's pretty out of
seriously.
It's pretty out of hand, isn't it? I don't think he will. I don't think Christian runs the team.
Like I get the fact that he's upset.
Yeah,
but at the same time. Let's wind back to Barcelona where Lewis was like, no good. I'm going to pull the pin or whatever, and they gave him a bit of a talking to. Didn't hear from him again, and look what he did. So, we get it, Max. You're unhappy. The car's bad. Like, are you saying it's dangerous? You should get out. You're going to hurt yourself. Like, what are you trying to say?
One of the commentators addressed this, but gave some context to this a round or two or three ago, and I can't tell you who it is. I've forgotten. I apologise. But one of them said one of the pieces of advice Joss gave Max, I believe it was, early in his career and like heavily, is like be vocal. Be ultra vocal about what's wrong with the car and blah, 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 blah. Like, do not keep it in. Be vocal. And I'm sure at times it works. You know what I mean? In a debrief, if you've got a bit of more of a submissive teammate who's just like, yeah, car's okay. And Max is like, it's fucking shit. It's not doing this. It's not turning in. I can't get on the power, fucking whatever it is. And he's super vocal. He's going to get the attention. The setup's going to go in his direction. So, like, I think in a lot of ways, that is probably good advice, but I think at other times maybe it can be dialed back a notch and not abusing the fuck out of your team.
Yeah, it's not their fault. You all got to work together, don't you?
Lewis.
Anyway.
Should we talk about Lewis? I think he had a shot of winning that race in those last few laps. I think if a couple of those moves had gone differently, if that move that he put on Charles and Checo had stuck, if that move had stuck and Checo hadn't thrown it back up the inside 2 corners later, he might have had a shot.
Yeah. I don't think he had the pace. I think out and out he was thereabouts.
Yeah.
I think he was probably on just on them. Like he was sort of hanging on.
I think he had as good a shot
Max and
as
the standard 1-2 guys.
I think he didn't have Leclerc pace. I don't think he had Max pace, but I think he had Carlos pace, and Carlos won the race. So that's more what I mean. Like if some cards had fallen differently, that could have been Lewis, not Carlos. But it wasn't.
Oh, well, imagine would have been his 9th win.
British Grand Prix win, yeah.
British Grand Prix, wow. And so that is official. This is his longest winless streak in his career.
That's insane.
10 races without a win.
Now, there's a lot of talk.
Even in his rookie season.
There's a lot of talk that Silverstone would really suit that car. Fast, flowing, smooth, not too many bumps to induce the bouncing. They say it's not porpoising anymore now; it's just bouncing. But anyway, so they said the track was really going to suit them. So, do we think that's a peak? Do you think that's a peak for Mercedes, or do you think they'll keep coming and coming and coming and developing and getting better and better, and he'll get that win? He'll get that win at some point this year.
I honestly think, I was saying this to someone the other day, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that Mercedes are the only team who are continuously progressing. Obviously, Red Bull, Ferrari, yeah, okay, they're already fast. But week in, week out, Mercedes are going forward.
Yeah.
And they're also the only team that are reducing the gap from Saturday to Sunday. So their race pace is always better than their qualifying pace. And I think that comes down to a lot of Lewis. And I heard George Russell saying that Lewis's focus and even Mercedes' focus has always been on the Sundays. Yeah, okay, pole position's great. But because of Parc Fermé rules, which we've got to get into that as well because there's a big change on the Parc Fermé, you can't change car setup. So you can tune a really fast qualifying car, but it'll hurt its tyres. So which way do you go? And they're obviously on the race side, so they're gaining time in the race, which I still reckon that they're the only team who are making improvements.
And you reckon they'll get a win before the end of the year or not?
Well, you asked me this 4 rounds ago, and I said I think they will. I don't think they'll be continuously. Sorry, not continue. I don't think they would have the ability to do it week in, week out.
Yep.
That's my thought. What do you think?
It's hard to say. I fear this would have been a bit of a kind of their perfect track, so a bit of a peak. But I could be wrong. They could just keep improving, and before you know it, they are a competitor. They are a competitor week in, week out. Maybe not winning week in, week out, but they're there. So, will they get one before the end of the year? Yeah, I think they'll pull one out. They'll pull a good weekend out. Some other things will go wrong. You know, Red Bull and Ferrari are going to start taking engine penalties out the wazoo later in the season, which then puts Lewis and George in a pretty good position because they've been mighty reliable. That was that their first DNF,
yes.
George's? That was definitely George's first DNF because he had been top 5 for every race so far in the season. Lewis hasn't DNF'd anyway, has he? No. So that's the team's first DNF. We're halfway through the year, and it wasn't a mechanical DNF. It was a car came barrel rolling over the top of me DNF. Yeah, I mean,
a rare DNF.
They could They could be sitting really pretty when everyone's starting to take 10th place or rear of the grid penalties, if they're reliable. Or not even just grid penalties, just picking up the scraps. Oh, yeah, tips. I have a funny feeling you've absolutely nailed it this week. I can't remember them, but I thought you said Carlos first. And I thought...
I'm pretty good, if I'm honest.
I thought you said Checo second.
Like week in, week out. I'm kind of like I hate to say it, I'm kind of the Max of this podcast, aren't I?
Okay.
It's always good.
Tell me what our tips were.
Let's go through yours.
So actual results first, like usual. Actual results were Carlos, Checo, Lewis. Fuck, I forgot who finished 4th and 5th. Remind me. Do you know?
No. Hang on. Charles, and then Fernando.
Oh, that's good.
So.
Oh, Fernando, the old El Plan coming together.
Flying the old boy flag.
El Plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what were your tips? Nah, say mine first because I know that then we can hear the best one second. Go on.
You backed your boy as usual, Charles.
Wow.
Then you had Lewis, Max, George, and Carlos.
Yeah, that's woeful. Yours are going to be good. I know it. Go on.
Kind of, but not really.
Really?
I had Carlos for the win.
Yeah, so you immediately have won. Yeah. That's a point for the week, but go on.
Carlos, Charles, Max, Russell, and Checo. So I'm still better than you, but still pretty average.
Well, you got the winner right. You can't complain about that. For some reason, I thought you'd nailed the top 3. I had in my head that you were like, yeah. Okay. All right, well, you win that one as well.
So that's 4 for me, 1 for you.
4-1. Okay. All right. Whatever.
Yeah, well.
What else do we need to talk about? Anything else from British Grand Prix before we move on? Because we've been waffling for a bit. What to talk about?
We have.
Fucking good race. No, one more thing. I got to get this off my chest.
Max Verstappen.
No, it's not about Max. He does it a lot, but other people are doing it too. It's not
driving people off the road.
I can't stand it. If someone has... You can't just drive people off the road on the exit. I don't think you should be able to do it. Clearly, that's where the goalposts are at the moment because fucking everyone does it and everyone gets away from it. But I disagree.
Everyone's talking about it.
You should not be able to. You should not be able to. And here's why. I don't think it's good. A, sportsmanship. B, for the spectacle. If you're not allowed to drive people, off on the exit, some of these wheel-to-wheel battles we saw that went for a corner or two would have gone for half a lap or a lap. The moment you're allowed to drive people off on the exit and just push the guy on the outside wide, you end that battle. It's finished. They got to get out of it because there's either gravel out there or even if it's a bitumen runoff, they got to get out of it and get back on the track right. You're robbing everyone of a good wheel-to-wheel battle that you don't know how long it could go on for. A good example of that was Charles and Lewis did fucking hard, nearly a lap or side by side, switchbacking on each other, and they were giving each other room, and it was fucking outstanding racing. Other people, yes, Max is a culprit, probably the leading culprit, but other people do it too. Other people, as soon as they're the car on the inside, they'll just drive the person on the outside straight off the road. Finished. Battle's over. It's fucked.
So you say other people do it, but I feel I'm going to throw it out there and say I feel that most of the blame needs to go towards Max for this whole thing because start of the race, first lap, ran
Lewis?
Charles off.
Yep.
He ran Charles clean off. As off as you can.
Yeah, in that same scenario I'm describing, right? Charles has put a move around the outside. It's not a half-hearted move. It's not like he's half having a sniff around the outside and he's maybe there, maybe not. He is wheel-to-wheel, front wing to end plate to front wing end plate, next to the bloke and just gets driven off.
Yeah. And the other thing is he did it. Max again did it apparently 3 times to Mick Schumacher.
He did, yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about at the end when I said let's do this episode in chronological order. Because as soon as we started talking about Mick, I was about to go off on this fucking Yeah, because it just shits me off.
This tangent.
It's got to stop, and it's been happening since. And it's quite funny because this will be a good segue into our Austria preview. I feel it's been happening, and people have gotten away with it since Austria 2019. Austria 2019, Max puts a move up the inside of Charles at the hairpin at Austria, drives Charles clean out of road, clean over that sausage curb on the exit of the hairpin there, drives off, wins the race.
Before that.
You reckon it's before that?
Nico Rosberg, same track on Hamilton.
And just drove him off on the outside.
You remember?
Yeah.
Just at the hairpin, just kept driving him off lap after lap after lap. And then it got even worse with Max that year, where Max just straightened the steering wheel and drove off into the runoff on the inside of Lewis.
Yeah. It's got to, if someone
Shocking.
is, and you don't have to give everyone room, right? If some idiot's got their front wing near your rear tyre and you're on the exit line going towards the curb, like, fucking too bad. You're not giving that person space. But when it's wheel to wheel, fucking front wing end plate to front wing end plate, side pod to side pod, someone doing that move around the outside has earned themselves space. They've earned themselves the right to some racing room on the exit, and they don't fucking get it in Formula One at the moment. And it's got to stop because it's shit driving. It's borderline dirty driving, and it's rampant. Yes, it's more one person than the other, but it's pretty rampant. Like, Checo was doing it too. Lewis did it on one of the restarts or on the first lap. Lewis did it as well. So yes, it's definitely
Everyone's a culprit.
Definitely culprits. But yeah, there's definitely some that are far, far worse, and they do it every single fucking time without fail. Max did it to Lewis all year last year. Remember the
only one who's not.
Remember the first lap at Imola last year. That's probably when. Lewis was on the outside. Nice clean move, wheel to wheel, pushed straight onto the fucking concrete aprony thing there. Bumbles and fumbles his way across those sausage curb things.
Rumble strip.
Not really a sausage curb, but the ones that go the other way. Breaks a bit of his car off. Fucking, on lap one. It's ridiculous. Who doesn't? What were you about to say?
Daniel Ricciardo, because he doesn't race anyone.
Oh dear.
Oh, I don't mean that. I love Daniel.
But yeah,
we both love him.
Mick, I think,
the Aussie boy.
Mick put some good moves on Max that would have stuck if you're racing someone a little bit more polite. And I know they're not there to be polite, and they're not going to be polite unless they're forced to be polite in terms of giving racing room. And all I'm saying is fucking tighten up the sporting regs a little bit to force them to be a bit more polite to the bloke that's just thundered around the outside of you, put a very, very fair and good move on you, and has earned racing room on the outside. Make it illegal to drive that person off. End of story. If you drive that person off, you have to give the place back or fucking 10-second time penalty or something.
Have we glossed over the smallest driver on the grid?
We have to, Yuki. We're 38 minutes in.
He crashed in the pit.
Yeah, we're 38 minutes in or something. We're still on Silverstone. Jesus.
And he crashed in the pit at Montreal, and then he's gone and wiped them both out at the British Grand Prix. Oh, small man.
It's not good. It's not good. I think we'll save talking about that a bit more until the under pressure segment, hey? Let's talk about it.
But he just goes, oh, that's all he says.
What's he doing? You came up the inside and spun into him, mate. What do you
he's a classic.
What do you mean? What's he doing?
So good.
Anyway, all right. We'll come back to that.
Austria. Let's move our let's drive our way to Austria.
Okay. What do we want to start with? Fun fact.
Let's fun facts. I'll start.
Okay.
Because I'm prepared with this. I've got a couple of goodies for you. So I'll start with just a couple of country facts.
Oh, yeah.
So, Austria is the home to the largest ice cave in the world, found in Werfen, I think it's called. It's 42 kilometres long.
Wow.
Oh, ice cave.
Ice cave.
42 kilometres.
So it's year round, like it's frozen year round, I suspect.
Well, it doesn't say.
Okay.
Come on, mate. I didn't
Half
look into it
assed.
that much.
No, I'm interested now. Find out more.
Yeah, Werfen. Oh, I don't know how to say it.
Werfen. Yeah, that means throw.
That's
if
it.
it's spelt how I think it's spelt, that means throw. Werfen.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, go.
Oh, good for you. And then the Alps, the Austrian Alps, cover 62% of the country's total land area.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So there's not much flat land.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yep.
Can't build in the Alps very easily.
That's what I found. Yep. And there's one other thing, I haven't written it down. I'm running it off memory here. 63%. I think it's 63% of their what they do is like renewable. So they what do? They get rid of their waste environmentally, and they're running off renewable energy and everything. 63% of, I'm not sure exactly what they call it.
That's not bad.
But yeah, they're a very environmentally friendly country.
Huh.
That's my Austria facts. What have you got for Austria?
So I've got one that's a little bit embarrassing / hilarious / interesting. So,
Okay.
I could speak German fluently-ish, right? So, despite that fact, and this is like since I was young, I grew up speaking both English and German. Parents spoke both English and German to me, so I kind of just have both. Like I didn't sit down and learn German one day. And I'm 35 years old right now. Okay. Despite the fact that I've spoken German since I can remember, I did not connect these dots, right? So Austria, they speak German in Austria, slightly different version, I think, but more or less the same, right? And in their own language, the country is called Österreich, right? And in German, it's called Österreich. Anyway, the start of that, the OST, Ost or Österreich, is the German word for east. And Austria is to the east of Germany. So
they're saying
it's named
by
after,
Germany.
it's essentially named like to the right of Germany.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I never put that together.
Okay.
Despite being able to speak the language and knowing that direction is called east and it's got east in its name, I never connected those dots.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah, correct.
At least you figured it out.
Yeah. Yep.
No, that's good.
Yep. Yeah.
I've got a couple of race/track facts.
Yeah, go on.
Have you got any more Austria facts?
No, that's all I got. That one blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. That's...
Oh, good.
I hope I explained it properly.
So
Did I explain it properly? So it's east of Germany, and its name in German is
East of Germany.
to the east.
East of Germany.
Well, it's not east of Germany, but it's got east in the name.
It kind of means it.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway, in my best possible bad version of translating and trying to explain what things mean in other languages. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I got. That one blew my mind. Righto, what do you got about the Red Bull Ring?
So it obviously got bought out and became the Red Bull Ring. Mm-hmm. And again, Austria is the home of our favourite energy drink, Red Bull. I
do actually love Red Bull.
No, we're not sponsored by Red Bull, but it's grouse.
I do love it.
The largest ever qualifying spread. Now, this is pretty bad. 1976, James Hunt was on pole. Mm-hmm. Loris Kessel qualified 25th, 20.99 seconds behind.
How long was the lap? Do you know how long the lap was?
Like a minute 20.
No
so
way.
It's so bad.
Wow.
So bad.
I could definitely
You'd
do
be
better than
spewing,
that.
wouldn't you?
I could definitely do better than that.
I mean, a go-kart's faster. Anyway. And then to put into perspective of how competitive it is now, last year, we won't talk about Mazepin, he was last, but ahead of him was Schumacher, and Schumacher from pole to Schumacher was 1.7 seconds. What are you laughing at?
Because your point about look how close the field is comes with the caveat of like forget this bloke. But other than him,
because
really
Mazepin was
close.
19.8 seconds off, and then Schumacher was only 1.7.
Oh dear! No, how far was
Well,
Mazepin?
Mazepin was only 2.2
2.2. Okay, so it does that
on a 1:12 lap or whatever. It's not that good,
right?
And the biggest winning margin in a race was 86 by Alan Prost. He won by a whole lap.
As in lap second place.
Lapped the whole field in 86.
That's obnoxious. That's ridiculous. I didn't know that it even ever happened.
No, I think the one I thought was closest was Senna was 58 seconds ahead at Monaco before he binned it.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone had ever done it.
Yeah,
lapping second. Wow,
it's pretty bad.
Wow,
86 too. So he would have lapped Senna, but Senna would have been in the car. What was it?
Lotus,
the Tolman, was
Tolman?
it?
Lotus, one of those
Lotus,
two.
Yeah, whatever it was. Pre the 88 McLaren.
Oof. Yep.
Crazy. Lauda would have been in there. Yeah. Mansell.
That's
unbelievable.
That's lit. That's like turning difficulty on F1 22 down to 7 out of 110. I don't know if you could.
I still wouldn't win.
No, you probably wouldn't. What have I got? It's not that interesting. Before it was called the Red Bull Ring, it was called the A1 Ring. Before Red Bull bought it, I think it was in financial trouble. Is why Red Bull bought it. Does that sound right? I might have been making that up. Should probably come with more.
Possibly. I think was it Alexander Wurz tried to buy it.
Yeah,
never eventuated, and then Red Bull took it over. That's what I know.
You know what I was disappointed with when they took it over? Like they kind of Red Bullified it. Like they've got that fucking sculpture of the Raging Bull and whatever. I feel like because it's such a cool brand, like it's a cool looking brand, they could have done so much more with it. Like they could just Red Bulled it more. You know what I mean? With, I don't know, cool bridges, cool fences, like paint the curbs a cool color. Like there's so much more they could have done with it.
Maybe they didn't really want to. Maybe they were just clearly they didn't want to. Maybe they're just trying to
save the track,
as a racetrack,
have an Austrian Grand Prix, like secure your own way to get your own Austrian Grand Prix. Essentially, maybe, yeah,
kind of keep an A1 ring sort of feel about it.
Just make it look so different, like so modern.
Yeah, could you imagine the different colour curbs? Like you said, that's grouse. I never even thought of that.
Yeah,
you could paint the curbs in the Red Bull colours, and that's cool.
Yeah, put some really cool fucking bridges up. Do a night race, have like some fucking neon lights or something. Like just Red Bull it up.
Imagine a DTF1 track. Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. You get these colours,
like black and yellow curves.
Yeah.
Glow in the dark. Tell you what.
Jeez, you've got some ideas there. Maybe you should call Dietrich Mateschitz and be like, look, mate, what you've done with the Red Bull ring's fucking piss poor, but I got some ideas.
I might catch up with Helmet.
All right, Austria. What do we, any predictions, concerns, queries?
Tips. Let's just do it right now.
Right now, off the top of our head, who's going first?
I'll go first this time because you went last time.
Okay, you got to do it.
Max.
Quick. Yep.
Checo.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Charles.
Yep.
Lewis. No, Russell. Russell and Lando, because Lando has a very good track record there.
He does.
All right, go.
He does. Okay. Charles, Max, Checo, Lewis, Lando. I stole the Lando one. I apologise. Benefits of going second.
Yeah, he's been really good there.
Benefits of going second.
And, let's call it that. Well, I was going to say, should we dive into the tips a bit further? But
nah.
No,
just put it around.
Say who can get it, who can steal a bonus point, kind of thing. You know, like Schumacher may.
Should we try and get a bonus point from pole? Nah, that's fucking shit. It's really only between two people. I was going to say, should we try throw in just picking pole sitters there? But nah, I don't reckon.
We could turn this into over time. Will it involve everyone listening?
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll start a bit of like a tipping competition.
Either a tipping comp.
We won't do like F1 teams, but we'll do a tipping comp.
You don't reckon? Do it as fantasy? Could do it as fantasy next year. F1 fantasy team. Nah.
Possibly. It's always quite hard. Whereas I find tipping, like footy tipping and stuff,
you just throw
is
something
quite
at the
easy.
wall.
You just go pick, done.
Yeah.
We could almost set our own app up.
Oh, yeah, you settle down, big fella. Yeah, we do something though. But okay, what? It's a short lap. The field's usually not split by that much. There's one good passing opportunity into the hairpin each lap. Arguably,
And the corner
maybe two, into the corner after, but not so much. Do you reckon it'll be a bit of a procession or some good racing?
It's a sprint race.
Oh,
You're forgetting.
It is a sprint race. We have to
How good?
We have to do tips for sprint, don't we?
Oh, you're trying to get yourself some bonus points. Nah.
That's what we did it for Imola.
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah.
They need to do more sprint races.
They do. Apparently,
it's just
the
toying
FIA
with it.
blocked
It's just...
it. Apparently, this
really?
was in the commentary over the weekend. The teams were willing to do 8. 8 this year. 8 this year, and the FIA said no. Well, they put their hand out. They put their hand out to Formula One, as in to Liberty Media, to the series, the series organizer. They put their hand out, say, "We want more cash to let you do that," and the teams in the series were like, "What the fuck for? We're just dropping a 60-minute practice and putting a race in instead. Like, why do you need more cash?"
The only thing I can say is they need to make sure they spice it up a bit and not become a procession. Do they give them, I don't know, a special set of tyres that they all have to do? They all have to run
some super
two
softs,
different compounds during the race, like a super softs that last 2 laps or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
That really throws us, I don't know, something to, or give it to selected few.
Or have some things like fan boosts or something. I don't know. Like that's not so easy. They do that in Formula E because you just fucking turn on some extra horsepower. But yeah, something that could make them a tad more interesting. A little bit more video gaming, like some fucking you can.
I can get why they won't.
Yeah.
Because of so much money involved in the whole thing that they don't want to.
Yeah, but you
throw the money up against the wall. But it is a spectacle.
You're competing against 100 other sports these days, and esports. Like, you got to compete for attention, and don't ruin the sport. Don't touch the normal Grand Prix. Like, leave that thing alone. Leave that. But yeah, like, have some fun with the sprint races, or at the very least, fucking just have 8 of them instead of 3 if the teams are willing to. You muppet fucks.
You what?
Muppet fucks. Anyway,
I agree. But it is a sprint race, so it's good.
Okay,
I'm excited for that.
So we're our tips for the main race. Let's do sprint race tips real quick as well. We did it for Imola. Okay. We got to do it for here. I'll go first this time.
Hang on. I edit this podcast myself. I can probably just listen and type.
You could.
But anyway.
Or you can edit it to make my tips wrong. You just cut where I said
no, because what I do is I'm I finish and screenshot this to our own chat, remember, so we don't lose it.
Yeah, but I suspect you're probably editing it. Okay, the sprint race. I don't even remember what I said for the main race, but here's my sprint. 3, 2, 1. Max, Checo, Charles, Lewis, Carlos.
Ooh. Good.
Yep. And you? Don't think about it. Just go. What feels right? Just whatever feels right.
Max, Lando, Checo, Carlos, and Russell.
Oof. Lando, how's that happening?
Jeez, I'll throw some.
I like
because I feel he's just going to throw it all against the wall and just have a crack.
Yeah, he will. And then it's not that long a race, and there's no strategy in there to you just got to hold people off. So it's possible.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think I don't know. Lando's probably going to win it. I might change it actually.
The whole thing.
The whole weekend. He might even win the championship.
That's a big call. That's a big call to put him there. But yeah, okay. He is good around here. Yeah, I'll give him that. This could
Didn't he
actually
get his
be a
first podium
track.
here?
This could no, I don't reckon. This could be a track where Dan goes half okay. I feel because he goes better at like the hard stop, turn the car, get on with it tracks, and that's a little bit
Like your confidence.
definitely more this style of track than Silverstone. So, might. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can Yuki not run
Stop
into
spinning.
any? Can Yuki not run into any teammates or walls this week? Who knows? We'll see.
Oh, the Mr. Otter.
You know what's funny is last episode we were just talking about how he reminds us of someone we know, and then he goes and does something else that reminds us of someone.
That reminds us even further of someone we know. Out of control, isn't he? He's just...
We're probably going to have to say who that is at some point, or people are going to be like, "This is fucking boring." They don't tell us, but might just get approval.
We probably need
might just get approval first.
Do it before we start to get a lot of listeners, because I don't want this guy to cop any hate. He's a great bloke. Okay, we've done the tips. Is there anything? Have we heard of any upgrades coming? I know there was a bunch of upgrades got brought to the British Grand Prix naturally because they can develop for longer into the weekend. They're going to struggle this week, I think. So I think cars, as they were last week, probably remain the same.
I don't think there's anything huge coming this week, to be honest. Not that I'm aware. Not that I've heard. Could be wrong, but yeah, I think it's more or less going to be status quo. Just very, very different track, different style of weekend, sprint race, so on. So I don't think there's anything huge coming, but also I wouldn't expect necessarily the same order as Silverstone either.
What track do you think it's similar to? It's got some grunt. Like, you got a couple of long straights there, but you got a couple of...
I mean, the definition of long...
mid to high-speed corners.
The definition of long has changed, though, hasn't it? Like a long straight used to be Monza. Now
Baku.
fucking Azerbaijan's just like 8 kilometres long, so it's completely different.
Baku's 2.6 or whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, what is it similar to? It's an interesting question. Maybe Mexico.
Probably nothing that we've really had so far.
No, nothing. Yeah, I don't know. It's not ultra.
Red Bull have always been good there.
Yeah, generally
Red Bull
speaking.
always have been good there.
Generally speaking.
Yep. Max has
it
won
is
it
a bit
4
of a
times
grunt
in the
track
past.
because that year that Ferrari had their fucking extra special secret sauce in the back, 2019 or whatever it was, when they were apparently doing something dodgy with fuel. Like, they were fast there. They were really fast there. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. Probably Red Bull will be strong, like, everywhere.
Yeah, it can be a good race, I think.
It's hard to tell, to be honest. Like, other than the obvious, Red Bull will be strong, Ferrari will be strong. Like, what else do you say? I don't think Mercedes will be as good. I don't think Mercedes will be as good or as up there, but we'll see. And then there could just be some weird wild cards where it just really suits the car, like McLaren. Like, you could be bang on with Norris, he just might be there. Dan might be there because it just suits the car. We'll see.
Yeah. It's one of those ones I find it sort of shakes it up a bit. I think.
Well, such a short lap too.
I recall Alp.
You can if you.
So the gap's a lot smaller.
Yeah, if you pull out a ripper lap, you can probably jag a pretty good spot.
I was looking at it, 2021 Austrian GP. Yeah, Max won that. So, Max, Bottas, Norris. There you go, see?
Yep.
Even Ricciardo was in 7th. Oh, that's right. He was thereabouts and he had some good pace. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. We'll see what happens. Shall we move into Bell End of the Week?
Yeah.
Have we got anything? What have we got?
Yeah, I mean, I got plenty. I'm just going to go Helmut Marko again, to be honest. For being a smart ass about Lewis, saying everyone loves come to Austria. You know, it's a cool track. The town's cool. Everyone enjoys a schnitzel. Well, except for Lewis, he's vegan.
It's just...
That bloke's living rent free in your head, Helmut. absolutely living rent-free in your head. You're fucking obsessed. Just ask him on a date already.
It's yeah, he's just jealous he doesn't have him, I think, on his team.
Yeah.
I'm boring.
It's such a
I don't
boomer
actually have
thing
any.
to do, make fun of vegan too. What a boomer.
Yeah, because
Like,
it doesn't really
he gives a
exist.
fuck.
No
He
one
gives a
cares
fuck
anymore.
about. He gives a fuck about the planet and animals. Yeah, what a fucking wanker. Let's take the piss out of him, cockhead. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't have any.
no Bellends.
I don't have any.
Well, pick one from the
No, I
race.
still get.
Pick one from the race. Pick a driver who was a Bellend during the British Grand Prix last week.
Who was a Bellend? Well, it's got to be Yuki, doesn't it?
I figured you would say Yuki. I figured you'd say Yuki. Yeah, that was pretty average.
You know what? I think he couldn't reach the pedals. I think that was the problem. Because he's like 4'1", or whatever he actually is, little fella. Yeah, I don't know.
And that's probably you know what? Let's segue then while you're gibbering about Yuki. Let's segue to under pressure. And there's a couple. Yuki's got to be one, right? I've started seeing rumors swirling around that he's done next year.
Already?
Well, not just from that bad weekend. Like, it's been brewing. It's been brewing.
I thought he was all right. I thought he was pretty well. Last two races, take that out, but I thought he was doing okay.
It depends what Red Bull want from their junior driver program. If they're looking for the next Max, then he's not it. If they're
they had one, they lost him.
If they're who?
Jury Vips.
I meant pace wise, not personality wise.
Yeah, well, he was their one, like he was their next Max. You know what I mean?
So,
but anyway,
it
I don't
depends.
know who's left in their program.
Like, Gasly's clearly never getting a shot, I don't think. So really, given Checo's not going to be around forever, he's getting on in the years, the old fella. Says the bloke that's similar age to him. So they know they're going to need someone to fill that seat with. I don't think they think it's Gasly, otherwise he would have done it already. So therefore, Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, seat number 2, has to be who they're grooming for the Red Bull seat, right? And I don't think they think that's Yuki. So connect the dots, I think Yuki's gone. You see my logic?
I do.
Stick someone you have true faith in and you want to develop next to Gasly, and I don't think it's Yuki.
Yeah, I just don't know who they have in their stable.
And this is the context I saw it in.
It's legit. They lost their guy.
Do you think Vips was their guy?
I believe so. Yeah.
They've got other kids in GP2 though, don't they?
Yeah.
Is Armstrong a Red Bull driver?
I'm not sure. I know they promoted someone into.
You know what they should do is bloody go and knock on Nick Cassidy's door, whatever fucking series he's in at the moment. I don't even know. Stick him in. I think it's wildly unlikely.
Formula E.
Yeah.
Formula E is in.
Grab him.
Liam Lawson is the replacement for Drew Vips.
Lawson.
He's good.
He's Kiwi as well, right?
Kiwi, yeah. Something in the water over there.
We'll have to. Yeah, don't tell me about it. We'll have to. I think we'll have to add a segment sooner or later. Start maybe towards the tail end of the year. Start talking about sport categories a bit. F3, F2, yes. W Series.
W Series, yeah.
It's probably worth talking about, but not now, not this episode. But yeah, I don't know. I think look, the segment's under pressure. I think he's definitely under pressure to keep that dry.
Yeah, we know how ruthless Red Bull are, and AlphaTauri are part of that stable. If you don't perform, you're out. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
They do seem to have a thing of chucking their drivers from the Red Bull, the main team, back to that team, letting them just sort of simmer away in there for a season or two, and then get rid of them. You know, I thought Yuki had signed. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think he only did a 1-year extension, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Anyway, what's a fucking Red Bull contract worth anyway? Even if he's got a 10-year one, that doesn't mean he's driving.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we spoke about the benching scenario that they do, which is horrible.
early in the piece.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So,
and then the other under pressure again, is it not? I don't know, but Stroll, man, like stuck it in the gravel again. And was that practice or qualifying? He spat it off the road in the rain. His practice or qualifying. And then I saw something on YouTube. I can't remember who it was, and I can't remember the exact details, but it went through all of Stroll's mistakes through the season, right? Like put it in the fence once in Azerbaijan, next flying lap, puts it in the fence again, harder, proper, pulls the corner off at this time, puts it in the fence here, puts it in the gravel there, does this here. Like I can't remember all the scenarios, so we'll have to dig them out and maybe talk about it next week. But like there's a lot. It's a lot. And I know last week you were defending him. You were like, I don't think he's that far off Seb. But since we had that conversation and that he was unlucky in wherever we were talking about was your point. He'd gotten a bit unlucky and he's not that far off Seb. But since then I watched this video and like he has made a lot of mistakes. Like a rookie level, above a rookie level.
I've paid more attention since you've spoken about it. Since you brought it up, I thought, you know what, I'm just not much attention, but I'm listening for things that, you know, Martin Brundle and, you know, undoubtedly more experts than us. You know what it's like. So we're not in the loop with Formula One. Like we talk about Australian motorsport over here. Like you hear of all these little things that happen that no one in the outside world would see. In supercars, the common thing here is sway bars, like a roll bar will break in a car. No one will ever know that, or you know, a brake bias adjuster breaks, and that costs time. No one will ever know about that except for people who are in the know.
Yes.
What's to say little things like that don't happen in McLaren with Ricciardo, with Aston Martin, with Stroll. But I do know that Brundle and were backing him. They were saying he's had a lot of bad luck and he's better than what he is. The team haven't given him the ideal car, and that must be a difficult car to drive because not even, you know, Seb had a decent result here this weekend for that team, got a 9th. But still, and not even he's able to scrape something out of it, and he's, you know, multiple world champion.
Yeah, 4-time world champion. Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, do I think he's under pressure? No, I don't think so because his dad owns the team. And I know at some point they've got to cut the ties and say, hey, what's the best for the future for the team?
Yeah.
But I just don't think that's next year.
Probably not. You're right.
I'm gonna go back to the same under pressure that we always have. Not that always have. I thought we after Montreal we thought he might have been back on the return, and that is DR3. Horrible weekend.
Yep.
I'm struggling to come up with any more excuses, and I think he is too. He's saying it, you know, he can see it in his face in the press.
I think
he doesn't know what to say.
I think there's clearly something about that team that hasn't clicked. Like he was great at Red Bull. He beat Seb. He beat Max regularly, even when the whole team was behind Max, like blatantly, obviously behind Max, favouring him on strategy, things like that.
He was good at Alpine / Renault.
He was good at Renault. He dominated Hulk. He dominated Ocon. There's just something that's not clicking here. So I think he should go, and I don't necessarily mean that as in he should be fired. But it's starting to be fairly clear that like maybe he needs to be somewhere else.
You know what I see?
But is there somewhere else?
He is the only driver that I've seen that gets pretty much all positive feedback. Like if I read social posts, it's like a picture of Daniel Ricciardo and it says he's struggling, shedding light on how he's struggling.
Yeah, pretty much everyone's defending him.
The messages of support is ridiculous. Whereas Lewis, there's 98, 99% is hate.
Yeah.
And it's unwarranted.
Yeah.
Ricciardo is so amazing for the sport. His personality, he's just the best for it. But it's just sad. because we want to see him do really well.
Yeah, he's clearly got the ability. So it probably is time to cut ties. Mutual termination. Go, you know what? I don't want to be here. You know what? You don't want me here. See you later. But go to somewhere else. But the question is, where is that somewhere else? Where are you going to go that's any better than McLaren?
Let's go back to AlphaTauri for a second. Would Alpine loan Piastri or sell him?
They can't keep They can't keep him on the bench, right? So, like, you've got to have him in a car. So it's either, I don't know. Let's think this through. It's either get rid of Ocon and put him in the car, put him in your car. Or,
it's not going to happen. I don't know why.
It's probably not.
He's got to be under pressure, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, he's French though. It probably helps.
I can't keep defending him.
French driver.
Yeah, true.
So what do you do with Piastri? I guess you loan him. You loan him out to Williams, or you loan him out somewhere. Yeah. AlphaTauri though.
Cool to see him in AlphaTauri. That'd be really cool.
I don't know if they'd put him there. I don't know if Red Bull would take him, because the whole point of that team is to develop their own peeps. Yeah.
But what if they develop him and they go, he's the GOAT? We'll chuck him in beside Max.
Yeah. Yeah, now we're talking.
How cool would that be?
Now we're talking. But they won't, because I assume Alpine have got him pretty wrapped up on a pretty long-term contract, I'd suspect. They have to be.
Yeah, and Latifi's sort of done the old, no. I'm not, my contract talks aren't done for next year yet.
Has he said that?
I'm going to do what I can. No, but I think he's. It looks to me like he's gone, no, stuff you. Yeah. I'm going to have a bit more of a crack here. And he's gone and slapped the thing in the 10.
Yeah, it's in changeable conditions though, which is impressive. But also,
it doesn't matter. Carlos put it on pole.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not like he's going to come out next week and fucking pants Albon, though, is it? It's not like it's that kind of change in form. I don't suspect.
No.
Yeah, very good. Dude, we've been going for a while. There's too much of a Silverstone Grand Prix to unpack. Do we have any other segments we haven't touched yet that we need to?
There's always lots.
There is always lots.
Should we run over some of the other segments we want to get in? We want to do in the future for everyone, so they know what they can expect if we get time for it.
Go on.
The one thing that we really it's got a custom segment, so something that we'll rotate between. Mm-hmm. So one of the ones that we think we've got probably not a good insight into, but something we can expand on is the sponsorship in motorsport. Our idea behind this one was we'd find a sponsor in a car, we'd elaborate on who they are and what we think they get out of sponsoring a Formula One team.
Because it's not always the sticker on the car that they do it for.
Correct. And that's what people don't realise. So maybe we can probably estimate what you think they're paying for it, what they're getting out of it. Who knows? Maybe eventually we can get to a point where we can speak to the marketing departments of these sponsors and say, "Hey, do you want to join as a guest and give us a bit of an insight into why you're doing it?" That's a side of sport that people don't really see, and that drives the sport, the sponsorship and the television money. Drives it.
You saw it a little bit in Drive to Survive, a little bit of that fake scene where they went to that German sponsor, whatever they're called, 1 and 1, or whatever they are. There's like a bit of a fake scene about a sponsorship meeting, but that was a bit fucking laid on thick for the cameras. So there's a lot more to unpack there.
Yeah, the other one was something technical. So I'd find something technical about a Formula One car that I think I can explain, and try and unpack it for everybody. It might be something as simple as how does the virtual safety car work from a driver's perspective? They're following a delta. Have they got a button on their steering wheel? What is it? We can go into that. Little things like that from a driving perspective. And the last one was roles in Formula One, because there's so much more than your race engineer, your team boss, your drivers. Go into some of the other roles that are super important to the overall running of the team.
We've also
that's my thoughts anyway.
I agree. We've also still got to do, and those they're pretty complex. They might be bonus episodes rather than segments at the end here, but we've also got to do something on the budget cap, which we keep threatening to do. We haven't done yet. We haven't done yet. We haven't done yet. There's that. There's I saw a really interesting video on YouTube, which I found fascinating. That was about the TV production side, about how many cameras and how many camera operators and the camera angles, and then the director's room, like how the TV director chooses from shot to shot to the shot to go that one, camera 6, camera blah. That was really interesting. So that might be something to look into as well. There's so much stuff. So I think as we get a little bit more, nailed with this. Someone's ringing the doorbell. I apologise. I'll give them what for in a second. As we get this thing a little bit more drilled and a little bit more refined, I think those weeks off, you know what I mean, where there's 2 weeks between races, we try and slip some bonus episodes in there.
Dump something in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff.
Well, we've got a summer break coming as well. Don't forget. So we've got some time. We can jam some things in there potentially.
Sure. Ripper.
I think that's it for this week. What do you think?
I agree. I'm done. I got everything off my chest. FIA, let there be 8 sprint races and stop letting drivers drive each other off the fucking road on the outside, especially when they've earned the room to be there. For Christ's sake, we could have such good side-by-side racing for so long, and instead it's just over because someone's been pushed off into the gravel or wherever. Just fucking cut it out. But you're right. Yeah, we're done. I just had to say that one more time. Jolly good.
And make DRS more powerful.
Oof, you don't want to overdo it though, where they just
shot of fuel or something.
Where they just drive like blast past each other. You don't want that either. Yeah. Good stuff.
Anyway,
thanks for listening.
Great
thanks
episode,
for chatting, Trent. We'll jump online.
Thank you.
It's too late for you now, isn't it? Or it's at 9:30 your time. I was going to say, let's jump online and have a F122 race. It's probably a bit late.
Yeah, I can jump on for a race. Show you how it's done.
Where are we at in our career? So this is the other thing. F122 is out now. We're doing a co-op career where you're teammates. And
has any of us scored points?
I've scored points, yeah. I finished 4th, but then I had a time penalty, so I finished 7th. Don't remind me. But what we're going to do is we're going to get that co-op career up to date, like up to where the real calendar is at, and then we're going to do races as the real races happen. So we've got a few more to catch up on, right? What have we done? We've just done Miami, Monaco. Did we do Monaco? Yeah, we did Monaco.
Yeah, that was an absolute debacle.
It's really bad. We're both doing it on controllers because Trent can't get his steering wheel and pedals to work in his fucking $10,000 sim. So, we're doing it on controllers. But yeah, let's get caught up. We'll get caught up before Austria, and then we're going to do Austria weekend on Austria weekend.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. We'll keep you posted on how we go on F122. Might even post a video or something.
Yes. My passing is something of a professional.
You are the king of dive bombs, and you give no shits about anyone else's side pods. You just put your fucking front wheel through them. Very good.
Well, their cars are strong. Anyway, thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.